Give me that book. Come here. Look at this. What a great book. One of the great books. Way behind. I always say, way behind the Bible, but still a good book. The Bible's number one. Okay, I'm going to sign this for this guy. Yeah. Good. He's an athlete. So, well, that's a good book, too, Surviving at the Top. How about where I said that Osama bin Laden is coming to get us 3 years before it happened, okay? So I was watching Morning Joe, good program, good guy, Joe Scarborough, and they said, yeah, Trump said this and that. You know, we were talking about Trump and military, because there's nobody that will be tougher and stronger and better with the military than me. And somebody was on the show that they didn't even like me. They said, you know, Trump wrote, there it is, right? Look at that book. There it is. But they said, Trump said they're going to come back. This is, remember, the first hit on the World Trade Center, where it was a bad hit, but it wasn't, obviously, it wasn't the one that happened, the ultimate. And there was a lot of stuff about a guy named Osama bin Laden, who was a terrorist, who was really raising his hand pretty loudly all over the place, talking about how he's going to come. And I mentioned him in the book. And I said, you better put this guy away, essentially, because he's coming to get us. You better do something. And you better be smart, and you better be tough. And, you know, who knew this was going to happen? But I remember Joe Scarborough, he looked, and they had read the paragraphs that they're going to come, and they're going to do this. I said exactly what was going to happen. I'm good at this stuff. And I mentioned the name Osama bin Laden. And I actually mentioned his name because I saw his name. He was like, so Joe goes, whoa, when was this written? It was written a couple of years before the World Trade Center. And we can be tough and we can be smart. Like Iraq, we spend $2 trillion, thousands of deaths, thousands of lives. And you could say on both sides, in all fairness, okay? Thousands and thousands. We lost 5,000 more. They don't even know. Thousands of lives. Wounded warriors who are the greatest. I love. Wounded warriors. All over. So we have 2 trillion, the wounded warriors. We have thousands of lives lost. We have nothing. What do we have? Nothing. Iran is taking over Iraq. And we just gave them $150 billion to do it. No, think of it. Where do they make these deals? That's why, look, you know, I may be a lot of things, but I really know how. I'm a good deal guy. This would never happen. No, I mean, hey, Carl Icahn just announced he's supporting me. You know, Carl, a great businessman, great business leader, very smart, made fortunes, billions and billions. And he just endorsed Donald Trump out of the blue. But others too. And because he knows there's no games. We're not playing games. This guy, we have Kerry negotiating a deal, $150 billion we gave him. We don't get our prisoners back. Now they want to start a new negotiation. Listen to this one. For the prisoners. Did you hear this? The deal is done. They got their money, or they're getting it very soon. Oh, I wish there was some legal way. I wish this election could take place tomorrow. There's no way. I don't care what they agreed to. I guarantee that contract somewhere along the line, as incompetent as they are, because I've inherited a lot of bad contracts over the years. You know, where I buy a company cheap because the poor guy didn't know what he was doing and he made a bad deal. So you buy it cheap. You throw it into a chapter, you beat up everybody, and you have a nice little asset, right? You know, you do it. I do it professionally. But there's always a clause. Like a lot of times you'll see this horrible, and you'll be reading, oh no, this is terrible. This is worse than I thought. You know, you take it. A friend of mine, he's a great guy, but not a great business guy. So he signs this horrible, he asked me, I'm reading his contract. I love doing it. Can you believe this is my entertainment? Can you believe it? Other people do other things, but I like doing it. I like reading contracts. I'm reading, and all of a sudden, bingo, I see this clause. I say, you know, do you know you have the, no. And I help him, and I made some deal for him. He'll never forget me. Of course, he probably will. You know, people forget. They forget. But it was bingo. So as bad as these things are, and as bad as, let's say, that guy, there's always something. There's always something. And I'll find it. Oh, will I find it? Now, the other day, they said hey, we'll start negotiating now for the prisoners. They're 4. They used to have 3, now they have 4. But they're only going to negotiate for 3. But they want 19 people that are here. Think of it. And what else? Many other things. In other words, they're starting off. Does it make you sick? It's just, every time I use this because how many things can you relate to that are so simple? One of the things that's very interesting, and one of the reasons I actually like taking questions and answers, because you have things that are bad in the country. But you have, let's say, 10, 12, 13. You make them in a speech, you can talk about all of them. Then if you make the same speech, they'll say, oh, gee, you talk about this. Well, how many things are there? You're going to talk about all of them. We can talk about immigration, illegal immigration. We can talk about IRS. IRS is right. He says IRS and I say ISIS. Maybe it's the same thing. I thought that's interesting. Who said that? That's very interesting. That's very interesting. But no, I mean, you talk about ISIS, you talk about the problems, you talk about Obamacare, which is going to be repealed and replaced. Obamacare is turning out so badly that in 17, it looks like they're going to have to go back to Congress and rewrite the whole thing. It's a disaster. And you people know it. The premiums are up 35, 45, 55%. The deductibles, you're not even getting anything because the deductibles are so high, you have to die. And who knows if it covers you if you're dead? I'm not sure. Do you get covered if you're dead? No, the deductibles are so high that I don't know. I mean, I don't know. So what happens is I talk about this, Aranda, because as a person that has had tremendous success, and I had, don't forget, they said, he'll never run, right? I've told this story. I love this story. He'll never run, the pundits. Oh, do they hate me? He'll never run. He'll never sign Certificate A. That's a 1-page where you basically sign your life away. I signed it. Then I made the announcement. Then they said, oh, he'll never sign his financials. Well, I put them in almost 100 pages long. I think the longest ever put in was like 2 pages. Mine are like 100. I think it's 500, almost 500 companies. Tremendous success. So they said, oh, maybe he's not as successful as people think. I'm much more successful. In fact, I tell the story. Honestly, I wasn't sure until the last moment, because it takes guts to run. It really does. It's not that easy. And it takes guts to run. And it does. It does. It takes guts. And I didn't know. I went right to the end. And, the famous escalator scene with Melania coming down with me waving and everything. I said, I took a deep breath. I went like this. Okay, baby, let's go. And I announced, and I brought up the subject of illegal immigration, and boy, did I take incoming, as Rush would say. I took incoming, and then it turned out I was right. But I just gone back, so on the financials, I didn't know till the very last moment. Because again, not an easy decision to make in terms of yourself, your family, your life. It's different. I mean, it's different. Here I am, you expose yourself like that on television, you're fully like with all these guys, and some you respect, some you have no respect for. And you have to say, you do respect them, No, some I don't, but we're supposed to support them if they win, though, the pledge. But some I do have great respect for. Some of the people on the stage I do. But I did these financials, and they were phenomenal. And I tell you what, and so it showed I was much bigger, much stronger, much wealthier. I built not only great assets, very liquid, very little debt, tremendous cash flow. The reason I say it is because that's the kind of thinking we need in the country. That's what it is. Such dumb people, such dumb deal. It's the thinking. I mean, it's a lot of the people in the audience, and maybe in a smaller way, you have that same thinking. You can't believe the stuff that you're seeing. Sergeant Bergdahl, 5 for 1. We get Bergdahl. No, we get Bergdahl. We get Bergdahl. They get 5 killers that they've wanted for 9 years. And they get 5 killers that are right now back on the battlefield, killing everybody. And believe me, they'd love to be here. They'd love to be right here. So we can't go on like this. And I said it to my wife. I said it to Ivanka. I said it to all my kids. I said, we got to do it. I mean, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Who knows? I've never done it before. But it's like I told Bill O'Reilly. Bill, I've been dealing with politicians all my life. All my deals go through politicians. I need zoning, I need this, I need that. I need taxes, I need tax abatements. I need all sorts of things. I get them. And I've always gotten them. I've done great with politicians. I deal with politicians. I deal with prime ministers from other countries because I always go in for the glamour deals, the big deals. They always want to meet me. So I have dinner with the prime ministers. But I get along with people. I get along with Democrats. You know, one of the big knocks on me? Well, he got along with people that are Democrat. Well, that's what we have to do. We got to get along, folks. You know, it's time. Washington is in gridlock. They can't do anything. And you know, when I was growing up, when I was younger, because I started young, and my father was great. I had a great father. In fact, I'm doing a book that's coming out in a couple of weeks. It's going to be great. And it's a very nasty title. I won't even tell you. It's such a nasty title. And you know what? It's a nasty picture. The photographer, Simon & Schuster, big company, they came to me, we'd love to have a book. I said, I don't want to do a book. I've done, 12 or something? I said, I'm in the middle of a campaign. They said, we'll pay you a lot of money. I said, how much? They said, it's true. I give it to charity anyway, so I'm going to give it to charity. But you know what? So you feel guilty, you know. So I work very hard, and I'm doing this, I'm doing books, I'm running things. The good thing is my children are very capable. They're running, they're running well. No, it's good. It's good. They're good, and I have great executives. So what happens is, I want you to read this because we talk about our country and we talk about the problems. And it's called, actually, Crippled America. And the nastiest picture you've ever seen. So they had this Simon & Schuster. They sent this great photographer, world-class photographer in my office. He took, and I told this, he took the most beautiful pictures you've ever seen. I never knew I was that handsome, to be honest. This guy is a master. He took the most beautiful pictures, smiling, happy, beautiful. And one he took when I wasn't ready, and it's the worst picture. It's mean and horrible. And the people came, they said, Mr. Trump, sir, this is really the picture we should use. You can't be talking about what you're talking about with a big smiling face. And wait till you see this picture. You're not going to believe it. It's nasty. So, I think it's going to be great. I mean, it's the hardest I've worked on a book since The Art of the Deal. It actually is. And it was condensed, but it's the hardest I've worked on a book. So let's see. But we talk about a lot of the problems that we have. But we're going to do something that's going to be so special. We're going to take this country, and if I win, and it is if, everyone always shouts, when? It's always going to be look, I'm competing against all these people. Who the hell knows? You have a lot of crooked people in the press. For instance, I'll give you an example. Last week, I'll give you an example how crooked they are.